This is Sam Bismuth, and today I have another morning message for you. I am an activist, a computer programmer, and a member of CPI, and this message is a bit of a difficult one. This message is that the way things are set up within the US right now, they don't have a need. The establishment does not have a need for most of the American people to even exist. They don't have a need for it. Now, there was once a time when it was beneficial for population to increase because there were more laborers required to operate the machines. Right? Build more machines, get more laborers, get more mass of collective surplus value. Proletariat, the notion of proletarian, is that you have enough to survive, but also that you have enough to reproduce. Reproduction is a priority because more workers equals a greater mass of profit. And there's still some truth to this, but things are not how they used to be, because as the rate of automation has increased and increased and increased, the number of workers required in order to operate a factory has decreased. The rate of profit has fallen too. We live in a phase of monopoly capitalism where the exploitation of workers' wages for profit is starting to take a back seat to the simple fact that one company owns everything and thus dictates everything and thus can charge whatever they want because it doesn't matter because they don't have any effective competition. That's monopoly capitalism. We don't have 200 million Americans working, grinding away in factories. The exploitation of wage labor is becoming less and less of a factor compared to monopoly capitalism and imperialism. And for all of the other people who are likely to be working in healthcare, in education, maybe in food service, that kind of thing, for all of the other people, there is no plan because you are not necessary. You exist to serve all of the other people, the rabble, right? You exist to serve all of the other people, all of the things, like all of the resources that are acquired through the global working class, through the global proletariat, and through the relatively small productive base that actually produces quite a bit in America, which, by the way, is reliant on foreign commodities and labor to a good extent. It is reliant on that. And not just in a fair sense, but in an imperialist exploitative sense. In order to maintain this high level of automation, we have exploited the world, right? America has cheated and exploited and colonized and imperialized the world in order to get an advantage that allows us to reach a high level of automation, right? A high level of development. But now that we're at this level, the majority of Americans, they're not needed by the ruling class. They're not needed. And as the confidence of monopoly capitalism and imperialism increases, that they can just be a monopoly with unfettered, no competition, right? Unfettered monopolies. The more that they have this confidence, or that they can operate as cartels, as a group, all deciding to set prices higher, all deciding to do things the same way. Or in with government, the government preventing competition from existing, like how you can't really buy pharmaceuticals from Mexico or Canada where they're cheaper. As these monopolies become more confident that they can simply charge whatever the hell they want without competition, that they'll be in with the government, and that they can operate as cartels, what's going to happen is that they will be willing to destroy even the small productive base of workers and replace them with AI. And even more Americans will be sent to do pointless work, or live off of welfare, but essentially live off of this small productive base and imperialism. And in order to change things, in order to turn things around, we need a revolution. And this revolution may be anti-imperialist in nature, but, and this is Caleb's observation, but I've realized it to be true based on my own analysis, it is going to be an anti-monopoly revolution. Anti-monopoly. If a monopoly exists, it must be in the hands of the American people. We cannot have corporate monopolies. We cannot have them because they are more reactionary even than capitalism as it's often been described historically. Financial capital and monopolies are far more reactionary than industrial capitalism, which is itself relatively progressive compared to feudalism and compared to monopoly capitalism and imperialism. So there may even have to be an alliance between anti-monopoly capitalists who want to reintroduce competition into our system and communists. There may even be such a thing, and if you look at how China is organized, there is that type of thing going on. And because we can observe that there's a small, highly exploited base of highly automated workers that exists in America, we have to wonder, where does that value go? Where does that value go? Well, it gets sucked up into the hands of the rich. But all that value could be going towards the American people. It should be going towards the American people, right? I'm not saying that we need to end automation, but what I'm saying is that we need to take the value that's gotten from automation, and rather than having it be exploitation, because if these workers working automated machines were paid the full value of their labor, they would be millionaires. Instead of making 20, 25 an hour, they would be millionaires, right? They're extremely exploited, despite the fact that their wages aren't terrible. If the value that they actually produce was not just put into their hands, right? I'm not saying that everybody deserves the full value of their labor on an immediate individual basis, but if it was in the hands of the American people collectively, mediated through real democracy, as opposed to bourgeois dictatorship that we live in, we would have the potential to do so much. And though we may have freedom here, there is no freedom quite like being free from debt. There is no freedom quite like not having to work particularly many hours. There is no freedom quite like economic freedom, and that is what we can have. We can have economic freedom. We can have a system where people don't need to work that much at all, maybe 15, 20 hours a week. We can have a system where people are paid very high for their work, where their work is more intellectual than physical, where things are highly automated, and where we have lots of free time to enrich ourselves and to do what we want to do and to enjoy life. And to reach this point, it's within our grasp. It really is. It genuinely is. The only thing that really has to change is to take the existing production that we have, take the value of that production, and yes, we do have to expand that production, but take the value of that production, and instead of giving it to the rich and using it to fund the war machine, we give it to the American people. Change where it goes. That's all you have to do. It's only a revolution away. And if you want to build that revolution with me, join CPI. and I will talk to you again later. This has been Sam Bismuth. Bye bye.